Comfy.
I'm very comfy.
What do you question most?
Who am I? Like, I know who I am, but I also question, like, is this the right thing to do? Like, is this where I should be? Or, you know, my future goals, like, what's the root meaning of that? Like, why do I want this or that? Why are these things important to me? Why do I look up to this person or that person? Or, you know, should I do this for, like my future goals? Is this to make a lot of money? Why do I want a lot of money? What's the amount that I might need to be happy? Is there an amount that you could put on that? Will anything be good enough? You know, like, if I'm trying to make this amount of money because I want to support myself and my family and indulge in these other things that I like, are these other things that I like, are they righteous? Are they gonna help my soul? And just sort of just like constantly questioning who I am and who I want to be in this world is something that I do often.
What's your name?
Thomas James.
And how old are you?
25.
So, Thomas James, who are you on a soul level?
That's a good question. Who am I on a soul level? I think on a soul level, I am someone that allows their morals and integrity to guide them. I'm always self-reflecting and doing my best to walk in a righteous path. So on a soul level, I'm someone that yearns for passionate relationships, companionship from, that could be from, whether that's friends, family, significant others, things like that. But, even within those relationships, my morals and integrity and, like I said, righteousness, it all comes into play, so.
Okay. So I'm gonna get you to pick colors that represent you as a person, the things that make you happy, the things that make you feel stuff.
Okay.
And I want you to tell everyone like why you picked the specific colors that you pick.
Okay.
Okay. What colors did you pick?
I picked black, purple, blue, orange, red. Is this white or gray?
It's like a really light gray.
I really like gray and pink.
Why?
So, black, because I love the color black. Aesthetically, figuratively, philosophically. Red, because red's one of my favorite colors and it's very fiery, very passionate. Purple's kind of mellow. It's in between black and red, so it's kind of a little more laid back. Blue's another one of my favorite colors, and I don't really know why I like blue, but I do. I really like blue. I picked this light gray because I thought it was white, and my favorite color combination is red, white, and blue. Blue, white, red.
Because of America?
No, I just like them all together. Like,
Okay.
Like, for example, like I'm really attracted to the the Tommy Hilfiger logo because it's red, white, and blue. So like I have that everywhere. Like I love that color combination. And then I picked orange because orange is kind of like a misfit color. Not much rhymes with orange. You know, like there's not, to me orange is just special. And then I picked pink because I really like pink because especially being a man, like pink is not always associated with masculinity or, you know, anything like that. But I've always liked the color pink. Cameron wore pink. I'm a big Cameron fan. So yeah, that's where I picked these colors.
Okay. So I'm gonna get you to draw for the rest of the interview.
Okay.
And you can draw whatever you want.
Okay.
Don't feel pressured to finish. Nobody finishes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, first question.
Yeah.
Is there anything that has happened to you previously or anything that's going on right now that has really like kind of shaped who you are?
Yeah. Having this much responsibility has shaped me. I'm being presented with a lot of different opportunities for different reasons. For example, the space that we're in right now, the UV Blake Cultural Center in Baltimore, I was asked to co-curate a show here. So that's what brought me here. And you know, I have many opportunities like that that are coming my way because over the last 4 years now that I've really delved into the art realm in the way that I have in the form of curation and just overall creative endeavors, I have been able to somewhat make a name for myself. So kind of just exploring what exactly that means, you know, what it means to have the responsibility of someone who essentially can give artists responsibilities, or I'm sorry, that can give artists opportunities to showcase their work or put on workshops, partake in other creative projects. I run a residency program, so you know, making sure that so essentially I'm responsible for 8 artists individually. So I mean, things like that, you know, I'm put into many different circles that I wouldn't necessarily think that I would be in. So kind of just like navigating that, which ultimately has made me, I would say, a better person over the last year. Like I said, I've had so many opportunities to work with these different artists. I've had so many opportunities to be, like I said, in rooms with people that I wouldn't necessarily have been in any other way. And so like that really influences the way that I move. You know, I have to conduct myself as a gentleman, as someone who's caring, someone who's conscious, and you know, that ultimately has made me a better person because I have to put my best foot forward all the time. It's made me explore, like I said, who I am, who I want to be. So I think now, you know, I think about race differently. I think about identity differently. I think about ethnicity differently. I think about, you know, the type of person that I want to be, zodiac signs and things like that.
Who is that person?
That person is a different rendition of myself. It's a more refined version. It's someone that has taken all the good that I've seen in myself and exploring it more, doing more of that, and the not so good, and again exploring that, figuring out why I may act a certain way, or you know, or when I say not so great, that could also mean like health-wise. Like over these last couple of years, multiple times I've ran my health into the ground because I've just been doing so much, and I'm not saying no to projects, or you know, just trying to make sure that everything I produce is top notch. So you know, a lot of that is taxing on my body physically, and I'm not one that necessarily enjoys sleep anyway. So I'll be like, whatever, I'll stay up, you know. You know, I might things like that. So like just continuing to learn, just learn about myself, learn what works, learn what doesn't work. And so then in the future, I'll be someone that I'll have it down packed a little bit more, so that I can do more in a healthier way, and I'll be able to promote hard work and righteousness and health all at the same time. So I guess overall what I'm trying to say is, who do I want to be is someone that is refined, someone that values themselves, values others, again, moves with morals and integrity, is kind to others, while also being serious about whatever goals that I have. Is there a brown by any chance? Can I get a brown?
Yeah. There are a few different browns.
Can I get that tan one right there? Yep, right there. Thank you. What is this like? This is like
This is like
coffee when you put like milk and shit like that.
All right. What is one thing that people usually get wrong about you?
One thing people usually get wrong about me, my age. I've gotten, like normally, if people meet me, they'll think I'm anywhere between 28, 29 and like mid 30s, like 34, 33, stuff like that.
How old are you now?
I'm 25 right now.
Oh, you're 25. Okay.
Almost about to be 26. I'm excited. So that's what, and people, sometimes people get my zodiac sign wrong, which is funny.
When is your birthday?
March 29th.
Okay. Aries.
I'm an Aries, yeah.
That makes sense.
AKA the best.
Okay. No, that's not the best.
No, it's not the best. What's the best?
Taurus.
Taurus? Aren't Taurus isn't it like the number one off quality is being non-compromising?
No.
Oh, okay. I think denial is the next one.
You seem pretty headstrong, so I can.
Some people think I'm a Scorpio.
I'm a Scorpio rising.
I'm a Scorpio moon. Don't make that face.
You're an Aries sun and you're a Scorpio moon. What's your rising sign?
Leo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You're weird.
Yeah, I try to
Aries
dial it
sun,
back.
Scorpio moon. How does that work?
No, whenever I tell people that, like when I tell them the combo, they be like, "Yo, get out of here."
How does that work? Do you know the rest of your chart?
I just
or
know
is that all you know?
I just know those three. I know
Okay.
that it's like, I know that there's like a couple more,
There's like all the planets, and then there's like the houses and stuff. But if you're into zodiac, you'll.
I also know.
That.
Do you know that that thing that's like run by numbers?
Your like life number, your life path number.
Nah, I think it starts with an E. It's like E.
Oh,
something.
your Enneagram.
Yeah, I'm a 3.
Me
that
too.
one. Okay.
Yeah. I think it's a 3-wing 2 or something.
It's whatever. Yeah.
And then the Myers-Briggs is an ENFJ.
Oh, I do not remember what my combo was for that one.
It was the protagonist or something. The person who like leads but cares.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about how our generation communicates? And how do you communicate? Scorpio moon.
I was gonna say, I mean, for me, communication, it depends on what I'm communicating about. When I communicate if I'm doing business with somebody, I communicate very thoroughly. So if I'm doing a show or if I'm trying to conduct something or coordinate something, I try to put as much detail as possible. I try to leave as least amount of room for questions. I try to give as much direction as possible. So I'm very, very thorough and detail oriented when I'm communicating when it comes to handling business. When it comes to communicating on I would say more so romantic level, we're talking about dating and stuff like that. I've had a lot of issues with communication.
I'm surprised.
But and that has been a downfall to a lot of the relationships that I've been in. But realizing that's a reoccurring theme, I'm doing my best now to communicate as thoroughly and as authentically as possible, because it, like now that I've really been able to just learn more about myself and discover who I am and just become more confident in who I am in general, it's made my communication a lot easier, because I kind of do it with under the guise of what happens is going to happen kind of thing. And again, I've seen that by not communicating, it's caused a lot of problems in my life and brought a lot of stress that I haven't needed. So, but that's only for the right person. Like most of the time, if I'm communicating with somebody who I don't trust fully, then my communication is very secretive. And I just can't help it. Like if I don't trust someone, I'm also very social. So like I like being around other people, especially women. But but if I don't trust them as thoroughly, then I do keep a lot. I'm a very private person. But with that being said, I do for the right person, I trust pretty quickly, and that's mainly because I trust myself and I trust my judgment. So if I'm like, I can trust this person. If I think that in my head, very quickly, then I kind of just ride with it. But if I'm kind of like uneasy, or if I feel like more trust has to be built, then then I'm a little slow. I'm a little slow to warm up to people. I can admit that. But yeah. But as far as like how our generation communicates, it's an interesting question.
Like, I don't feel like it's just you that has an issue communicating, because a lot of people do communication through a screen. So like, if someone calls you, that's weird, or maybe not you specifically, maybe you like talking on the phone, but like people don't call people really,
but yeah, I mean, I think that we are entering a dangerous zone if people aren't communicating, whether that's on the phone or in person, because a lot of communication is nonverbal. It's the person's tone, it's the way that they look at you, it's the way that that you can see their eyes, whether or not they're paying attention to you, the way that they're sitting, if it's open, if it's relaxed, if it's tense. Just as well as other things, like it could be, hygiene wise, like you might not like the way the person smells, or other super, it could, whatever. So I think that when people of our age, people that are discovering who they are and the type of people that they like to be around, and especially us in our 20s, and this is the time where we're for the most part, I would assume people are dating, maybe not super heavily, but there's a spectrum. But you're dating, you're trying to figure out the type of person that you want to be with, the things that you will accept, things that you won't accept. You start to learn more about yourself, and if you're only doing that through the phone, then again, that just becomes very dangerous. But yeah, I don't know. I think that we do a decent job communicating, because sometimes it's easier to say things over text. Like sometimes there's a lot of times where you might want to say something to someone, but then when you get around them, you might get self-conscious, or you might love that person that much. You're like, damn, I don't want to see you suffering, and know that even if I'm doing something that's right for me, that I caused that pain or I caused that hurt. You might not want to see that, and then you might end up putting yourself in a bad situation, or in a situation where you shouldn't have. You should have said what needed to be said days ago, weeks ago, months ago, you know. And so I mean, text message and things like that are over the phone, you know, whatever. Sometimes being in person isn't the best way to handle situations. So I think it does have its benefits, but so yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really know how to gauge that, to be honest. I would hope that we're gonna be all right as far as communication goes.
Hope so.
You know, I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, hope so. I think it's funny. It's interesting talking to people who don't just say it, because I'm one of those people that just like says it, and it like catches people off guard sometimes. Like, oh my God, you said it. And I'm just like, I mean, yeah. Like,
it's gonna catch people off guard, you know.
Talk about, but as far as like important information being sent through text or like, I don't know, like I have friends have been like broken up with through text or like, crazy stuff. Like, and I'm just like, call this person, tell them to meet up, and then tell them to their face. Like, if you're gonna do something huge, or it doesn't even have to be something like that, but it's just, communication now is just interesting to me, because like people meet through like dating apps or like through Instagram, or if you meet someone out, fine, but that's not really how I hear people meeting nowadays. Like, it's not like maybe it probably happens, but like, I don't know. Like, I was talking to this 35-year-old, and she was saying how her husband and her met like at the grocery store or something. Yeah. Like, I haven't heard about that happening in a really long time. And every person that I talk to, they're like, yeah, why doesn't anyone just like walk up? Unless you're like at the bar or in the club. But if you're like in a normal place, like I'm at the library, I'm at the thrift store, like whatever, like they're like, oh, it's not gonna happen. Like, you have to go on some.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've never been on the dating apps.
Oh, good for you. Stay away from them.
Yeah, well, I mean, just because I've heard that they're mainly just like hookup sites, you know, whatever.
Some people get married, but it's hard to find, you know.
I mean, you know, and shout out to those people, you know, more power to them.
Yeah.
I just don't do that because I like to meet people in person, or else, because again, I can get very uncomfortable with someone very quickly. So like, if I meet people through Instagram, unless if it's gonna be on some romantic stuff, you know, because I mean, like, people have slid in my DMs and, you know, we've talked about linking up and stuff like that, but then I'm just like, nah, like, I don't know you.
Never mind.
Huh?
You just like, never mind, I don't want to.
Yeah, I'm just, well, because I don't know you like at all, and I don't have anything to go off of. Like, if I meet you at, not even just a lot. If I meet you on the street, then I get to see, you know, how you're looking on maybe it is your best day, maybe it's not on your best day. You know, I get to see, you know, kind of like how you decided to take care of yourself. You know, when I'm talking, I get to hear your voice in inflections. Is that inflections? Your voice fluctuations.
Yeah, that's the one.
You know, most likely I would probably get to see, you know, how you smell. The conversation goes in 100 different ways. So I can, you know, we can talk about how are you, how you doing, you know, what are you interested in, and then we can start talking about where did you grow up, who's your family, you know, what type of stuff, you know, how did you become the person that you are today, and that can all happen in a 30-minute conversation. It's something that can't necessarily happen over a dating app or something, or, you know, just like a text messages that it's a 10 text message conversation over 10 hours. You know, you're not really gonna get anywhere.
True.
That's just how I see it. So again, that's kind of why, like, for me, I'm usually only comfortable with people that I meet in person, unless we're gonna talk about business. Then I'm like, let's link up for coffee or something. Or I guess that's another thing. Like, if you're on Instagram, you can kind of see the life that the person's living. So, you know, obviously it's what they want to show you, but if they're showing you some good stuff, I'm like, yeah, you know, let's do something that's low pressure. Like, yeah, let's grab coffee or something like that.
Okay. What makes you uncomfortable?
What makes me uncomfortable? That's a good question. Well, if we're keeping it general, just anytime I feel unsafe, whether that's because I'm around too many people, or if I see a safety hazard, or if I'm just in an unfamiliar place. Like for real, like let's say like the other, like I think a couple weeks ago I was at the club, and like when I tell you that it was packed like sardines. And not only was I uncomfortable because I'm like, there's a fire, we're all kind of fucked. But also just because I'm around a bunch of people I don't know, who've been smoking, who've been drinking, I'm with somebody else, so I kind of got to be, a little more like protective kind of thing. So like that, being in certain situations makes me uncomfortable, but it's not a bad thing to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
At times.
Okay, so what were you gonna say before that?
I forgot.
No, you didn't.
I think I did. I have to tell you all.
I feel like it was something along the lines of you, because if it has to do with what you just said, then what makes you uncomfortable is when people move too fast.
Not necessarily. I mean, moving fast. Well, yeah, no, yeah, you're right. No,
Like-
you're right. No, you're right. Because when I think moving too fast, like moving too fast comes in many capacities. That could come in the capacity of like being introduced to people that I don't need to be introduced to, or trying to be seen in public, too soon, or like just like, it could be a plethora of things. So definitely moving too. You laughing? What you? moving.
Like, I don't want to meet your parents. Don't take a picture of us because we just went on 2 dates, and get out of my house.
Yes, moving too fast is very scary.
Okay.
Because at that, yes.
Is there anything else that makes you uncomfortable? Because there was something you did not want to say, and then you made it pretty and said what you said.
That's my job. I'm a curator. I gotta make things that are deep and dark. I gotta make it look pretty.
Yeah, but we're here for the deep and dark.
But we are here for the deep and dark. But at the same time, I also don't wanna project too much, because I want to give the viewer an opportunity to put their own spin or their own understanding on it. So like something that might be moving too fast for me might be different for someone that's moving too fast for someone else that's watching this. So whatever they think is moving too fast, just know that that's a red flag. And so whatever you might think that is, it might be the same as mine, it might be different, but it's still the same. It's within that same realm. I just need people to empathize with me.
Okay. I'll take that. What's missing?
What's missing?
What's missing?
What's missing? What's missing? Nothing is missing, but everything I'm doing right now, in the future, it needs to be more grand. It needs to be, I need to keep leveling up. I need to keep, making my name relevant, so that my opinion will hold more weight, which also means that my self-reflection, my self-exploration, my walk within righteousness, that also needs to level up. I need to become a better person, a better man, a better, friend, brother, companion, partner. That needs to continue to level up as well. That way, what I'm doing as far as things that the public might see, or things that people that I might be service any sort of a role model to, I'll be able to guide them in a more righteous way because of the way that I'm actually living. So yeah, so I don't. So nothing's missing. It just needs to keep going up.
What do you need to heal?
Time and understanding. I'm someone who it might take me telling 10 different people the same issue for the 11th person to say something that actually resonates with me and that actually helps me to heal. And I also need I think I've also been able to heal by allowing my emotions to run their course.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there have been things that have hurt me, or I might feel a certain type of way because I hurt somebody, and you know I have to sit with that. I have to live with that, and you know it's never been good for me to keep my emotions bottled up because I have a tendency to do that. And so just being able to appreciate how I'm feeling at any given point in time and just allowing myself time to decompress, allowing myself time to fully understand what I'm feeling, why I'm feeling that way in the moment, and working on ways to move past it, even if that means, you know, getting very emotional for a certain amount of time and then moving on from it. It might reoccur again and again and again, but at some point, if I keep allowing it to run its course through me and not letting it overpower me, then at some point I'll heal. And I don't know if you could ever fully heal. You know, like I hurt my ankle one time, and the doctor was like, you know, your ankle's never gonna be 100%. If you get hurt, then you're never gonna be 100%. But that sort of trauma, you know, that sort of trauma could make you a better person, and it could help you to learn, even if at the end of the day, that pain and that trauma is still there. If you've learned ways to deal with it, then you're probably gonna hopefully you'll grow from it.
What is the most challenging thing you've gone through?
The most challenging thing I've gone through is, I would say, I've been blessed that no one, you know, besides like some elderly family members, but no one super close to me has passed, you know, luckily. So I think, and although, you know, in my family and friends and stuff, we've had health scares and things like that. I think the hardest thing I've had to go through is being comfortable, not being comfortable, that's not a good way to say it. The hardest thing I've gone through is, I think, navigating, I guess it would be two things. One, it would be my own personal self-doubt that I've dealt with, and that's on a personal level, like a, you know, very introspective sort of thing. But then outside of myself, the hardest thing I've had to go through was so my parents have been divorced since I was like a little kid. So, you know, kind of just maneuvering through the world with parents that at certain points didn't necessarily get along with each other, with, you know, issues that has caused, you know, just within my family or within myself, things that, you know, that I grapple with, you know, especially as like a little kid. These are, you know, even though you might be going through something and you don't realize what it is until years later, and you're like, damn, did this come out of, you know, is the way that I'm acting now, did that come out of an experience that I had a long time ago? And so a lot of pain in my younger years as a result of my parents being divorced, and kind of like what all that led to. So I think, you know, even into adulthood, you know, there are times where, you know, I would, just thinking about again, in my older years, just thinking about my parents being in the same room at the same time gave me a lot of anxiety. So I think as far as that goes, that was probably one of the hardest things that I had to go through. And one of the reasons was because it was over such a long period of time in my eyes.
Mm. What don't you want to tell people, but know you should share because it could help someone else?
Because it could help someone else?
Yeah. But it's something that you wouldn't like necessarily want to talk about, but maybe you wish somebody else would have talked about it, would have helped you at some point. Something like that.
Times that I am not confident, because especially with what I do, what I promote, there has to be a certain level of confidence in that. Like, for example, curating a show like this, curating a show of 10 important up-and-coming Black artists in Baltimore can be a very daunting task, especially when we had a reception coming up where I knew everybody was going to be there. And someone else, me, I was very confident going in, but someone else would be like, I can't do this. There are times where shit gets hard. Like, you go to work every single day and things just might not be clicking, or people might be talking shit about you that you're like, damn, this person said this and that, or your integrity might be questioned, or just some things that you can't control necessarily could affect you and they could weigh you down. And those are things that I don't like talking about, because I don't necessarily like acknowledging those, because I don't want it to stop my growth.
Right.
And it's not fun to talk about when you're nervous or when you're scared, or things like that.
Yeah.
But I think that talking about it and bringing it to light and saying, yeah, at this time I was scared, or I was nervous, or whatever, can resonate with someone else to be like, you're scared, you're nervous, it's okay. Like even now, like I have like the person who's painting I'm sitting in front of, Jarrell Gibbs. Like he's a few years older than me, and and I've worked with him on multiple occasions, but and from time to time I'll just call him. Usually we'll talk about something that we have relatively going on, but then we're like, yeah, what you got going on, or how are things going, et cetera, and I'll talk about it, and I'll sound very confident, because I am, but him being an older dude and being in a similar position that I was in maybe years before, he'll just automatically just give me some advice and be like, well, I see you moving. If the way that you're doing things is good. You just gotta keep working hard, and things are gonna work out. Or like the stakes get higher, but things get easier. Et cetera, et cetera. Like he'll just give me some game, or just something that I need to hear, and I won't even be asking for it. But I'll know that that's something that, in a way, to me, that's also him saying, what you're feeling right now, I have felt it, even if I'm not saying it. Like, what you're feeling right now, I've felt it, and maybe this is what someone told me that helped me, or this is what I wish someone would have told me. And then stuff like that helps me to keep going. And I hope that just kind of through those experiences, I'm hoping that I can do that for somebody else when they might need it.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. So all the power goes out, but the phone screens, TV screens, computer screens stay on. It's like PSA, public service announcement. And then it's your face.
Oh, shit.
So everyone can see you. What are you gonna say? What are you gonna do?
Why the power go out? Just like, is it on some like
We can do both scenarios. So say it's like a apocalyptic, you don't know what's going on situation. What are you gonna say if like the world is maybe ending?
If the world is ending, then and my face was the one that for some reason was what everybody saw, I'll probably just say, at this point we all we got, so know who your friends are and just try to be kind to the next person, and hopefully we're gonna live as long as we can. I would try to promote something that was community based.
Yeah.
The world is ending. Cars can't help you anymore. Can't help you go to the grocery store. You might gotta ask someone. Or TV can't help you anymore. You might need to ask your neighbor what happened down the block.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just promoting community.
So if the world wasn't ending and you had the opportunity to speak to everyone, what would you say?
Buy more art. I'm joking. Value yourself. Because self-value is something that makes the rest of your life better. If you value yourself, then you're gonna value, if you're blessed enough that, you're gonna value your parents and your siblings more. You're gonna value the little things, you're gonna value the youth, you're gonna value, because you can see yourself in them. You're gonna value, hopefully, if you want one, but a significant other or a partner, you're gonna value them and make their life easier, because you know how it is to, be stressed and come home and got dishes in the sink and you wanna do something nice for them, something like that, you're gonna value hard work, because you know that in order to get anything, for the most part, you got to work hard. So that's probably what I would say, because I feel like one of the things that I do see is that, and I have this problem too, is that we value, a lot of us are for self. We value materialistic things, or we value things that stroke our egos, which isn't really self-love. That's more insecurity based, which that's not self-love. That's just not wanting to be hurt, or not wanting to be embarrassed, or wanting to impress people that might not need to be impressed. I think that's what I would say. And then I would say buy more art. That'll help you feel more complete.
Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Great.
Thank
you. Everyone the situation that you drew.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Does this mean anything, or were you just layering up?
Of course it means something.
What does it mean? Enlighten me.
This is this is our entire conversation in one piece. I'm a creative, not necessarily an artist. So when I use all these colors and I just put layers on layers on layers, when we did this interview, we were peeling layers back, and there was a bunch of questions where I had to hopefully dig deep to come up with a good answer. So that's all it is. Not that it means anything, but I don't think it doesn't mean anything. To me, this was a very, in order to do this sort of interview, you have to be in touch with your inner self, your feelings and emotions, and I hope this piece kind of does that, because we're all kind of jumbled up, if you will. There's a bunch of shit going on in our minds and bodies and stuff that I try to make it sound good.
It does sound good. Ask everyone to sign their stuff, but I don't know where you would. I feel like you can finesse it since you did that.
I got you. Let's see, where could I sign that? Let's see, where's that? This is Thomas James in the flesh.